Welcome. It's Brenda Laynoff of BrendaLaynoff.com. And yeah, I invite you to this call today with my friend Lisa Glennie. Lisa's a healer, a life coach who lives close to Washington, D.C. So in that powerful part of the world. And we're going to be talking to Lisa today about a recent book called Life Skills for Teens and Young Adults. It's a health edition to gain essential tools for well-being in a simple and stress-free way, including powerful, inspiring journaling prompts for personal growth. So before we get into that, Lisa, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you.
Yeah. I've known you, I guess now, while we were just trying to figure out at least, a good 10 years.
10 years or more, yeah.
Yeah, or 10 years or more. So, it's great to connect with other healers, practitioner, coaches as we support one another. And looks like you created this book to really help support teens and young adults. So before we get into that, Lisa, I always like to ask, how did you get guided to become, quote, a healer? What's your story?
Well, it started when I was about 7, and I had an abscess tooth that had to get pulled. And that was really a horrible experience. And I grew up as a very independent child, but when a year later, the tooth had to get pulled, it was just a really traumatic experience. About a year later, I got another one. And I became very determined, and I thought, I'm not going through that again. And one night I went to bed and I focused in my head and in my body about that I did not want that tooth to be abscessed. It was in pain, it was inflamed. And honestly, knowing what I know now, I think I rose my vibration so much that I had healed myself overnight. So the next morning, I was completely out of pain. And by the end of the day, the swelling was all down. And I had no more abscess tooth. Well, I thought that was really cool, but weird, and what was going on and all of that. Well, fast forward to me being a teacher in 2010, I contracted Lyme disease, Hashimoto's, and a few other things. And I said to myself, nope, I'm not going to accept this illness. And I had to resign from teaching because I was exhausted. So I had several rounds of antibiotics from doctors and things like that. I was on a couple prescriptions for Hashimoto's and trying to keep down all of that. But I still felt horrible. And I said, I'm going to figure this out. And I discovered energy healing. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've been doing this since I was a kid. So I became a professional energy healer. So I did it professionally, have a lot of clients, but things kind of transformed where I was doing a lot of life coaching in my sessions. Now, throughout the years of my life, so many times I've been kind of people's inlanders, where so many times people say, hey, Lisa, I really need to have lunch with you because I have to talk something out with you. So in my coaching, I just started, giving people just kind of tips on how to make their life better, how to organize their life better, how to just deal with relationships better, how to love themselves better. And there were so many little tips that I've learned throughout my life that help people out. And I thought, I really need to start sharing this on a wider scale. And also, my husband and I have 5 kids, 3 and 2 separately, but those kids have 5 different kids, and many of them are in the teenage range. And I have so many friends that have teenage kids or grandkids, and these kids are struggling because so much of their learning comes from their social interactions, which they've missed out on in the last 3 years. Even personally, I moved twice, once in 8th grade, the beginning of 8th grade, and then again at 10th grade. And I know that just because of that, that disconnection from my friends during those times, I lost a lot of the social skills that I really needed. And, in researching th this book to find out more of what teens really need, there was things there that I thought, oh my gosh, if I had known, actually a lot of things, if I had known this in my 20s, how much calmer, happier, and better my life would have been. And I know that we have to go through, hard stuff in life to get our lessons. But gosh, wouldn't it be nice to sometimes get those lessons easier with just some good advice from somebody? And today the kids, they're kind of they're teenagers, they like to break away from the adults in their life to be independent, which, to a certain extent is good, but they need those people in their lives to teach them how to live life better. So if you can give them a book that will take away that, take away their need to be too independent, too, not too independent, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
uh, to have too much of an adult in their life where they feel like, no, I have to be independent is a great tool for them. Teenage suicide is going up exponentially. It's, I know so many people that know so many teens who committed suicide. And it's not just that, it's so many more teens are thinking about suicide. And, even though they don't eventually commit suicide, they're struggling. So we need to help them before they start struggling.
Yes, I totally agree with you. The mental health is such a we're such a crisis. And I
Yeah.
know you're in the United States, I'm here in Canada. We have a
Yeah.
program the government recently introduced called the MAID program. It's
Hmm.
to help people assist in their suicide.
Oh,
And
oh my gosh, I didn't know
so
that.
can you imagine that? I mean, and I have of course, if you're at the end and you're really suffering, you've got this terrible disease, I get it. I wouldn't want to suffer and allow our
Yeah.
animals to suffer. I understand that.
Yeah.
But when this is already becoming acceptable in society, that is kids can think about that, oh, maybe that's what I can do because they're so stressed for whatever reason, economically, mentally, people who can't afford to live might consider this program that our Canadian government has just introduced here recently. So if we can
Oh my
get to
gosh.
the yes, so if we can get to the children, get to the teens, absolutely, and they do need structure. These
Hmm.
kids do need structure. Tell us about some of the chapters in your book. Like I'm looking at the very first one, the self-care chapter.
Yeah,
What's the self-care chapter about?
that's so important. And it gives them permission to love themselves. It gives them permission to say, you know what? This person, this friend who's in my life is causing stress in my life. I have the right to tell them, and it does discuss how to do it in a very, very nice manner, that they're not good for me. And either they stop invalidating me or, um, you know, putting me down or anything like that. It gives the teen a few tools of how to talk to people and say, hey, you know what? I deserve to be treated better. And there's so many teens who don't realize that they do have the right to be treated better. And it does point out that, if these people are in your life and they don't take your feelings seriously, then there's better people that should be in your life and not them. And it's okay to say no to a friend. The self-care, and it kind of talks about recognizing when you need to take time out from social life, when you need to slow down, um, things like that. Just it has meditation in it. a little bit of mindfulness, and it just gives them permission to step back and be okay with what they need to do.
This sounds to me right off the bat would be a book that would be essential for the educational system, the
Mm,
school system. Um,
thanks. Yeah.
I I believe your background was education for a period of time you had mentioned.
Yep. Yep. I'm certified in K through sixth grade to teach in Virginia and in New York State. Yeah. And I love the kids, but it's it's a very stressful job. Um, but I really, really I resonate with the kids. They've got just such great personalities and souls, and they're just such amazing people. But so now that I'm not teaching, it's nice that I have this book and I can reach out to the kids this way. I have lots of books, and I have literally like 80 books I plan to write. And there will be a second edition of this. This is just healthcare, and it does focus a lot on emotional health. The next one will be life skills, and that'll be stuff like basic car stuff, opening a checking account, a little bit of basic cooking, renting an apartment, your first job, things like that.
That is excellent because it's obviously missing out of their school system right now. I
Mm,
certainly never
yeah,
heard any of that within the 12 years of primary school. So just basic skills, how to be a good
yeah.
citizen, how to have that self-worth, how to have strong assertive boundaries. This doesn't make me feel good. And to being able to say no in an assertive, non-aggressive way, and
Hmm.
giving people permission, giving these kids and young adults permission to have boundaries. So is that also part of the skills that you mentioned? I'm jumping
Hmm.
around here a bit.
Yeah. A lot about boundaries, and it gives them pointers on how to recognize a dysfunctional relationship. Like if you are dating someone and they are constantly talking about their ex, if they're constantly putting other people down, um, if they're putting you down, there's quite a few other pointers that it goes through. It gives some pointers on how you can be, or the teen can be, a much better person. Skills on verbal communication, body language, even stuff like what happens if your best friend's mom dies? How do you handle the bereavement of that person? What you should, offer to them, when you should step back. I never had those skills. I, I was lucky because I went to very few funerals in my life. Very lucky. But I honed up on my funeral skills writing this book. Yeah.
So what do you mean you honed up on your funeral skills?
Well, I just did some research on when a person loses someone who they're very close with, um, how best to help them, you know, what to say where they're not offended, but you leave it open so they feel comfortable in coming to you if they need help.
Right.
Things like
Oh
that.
gosh. And so many of us are holding this inside. We just don't want to expose that part of us, even
Mm,
as, being older. So we just don't
yeah.
want to, it feels very vulnerable to share that part of us. So I can,
Hmm.
as a teenager, and it's extremely, extremely difficult
Yeah, to deal with.
to deal with.
Um, let, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, continue on, Lisa.
Yeah, well, there's also physical care in the book. Things like, what do you do if you get a bee sting? And what if you find out you're allergic to that bee sting? Concussions, so many of our teens and young adults are engaging in sports. when is it that you've bumped your head? When is it you should really talk to a doctor about that? Because you can do a lot of damage to your head, your skull. Um, uh, that it also has emotional care, as we talked about some of that. Sleep, what should be normal sleep? How to get better sleep? What's the difference between an insomnia or just a few bad nights of sleep? Um, what else? A lot about relationships and stuff like that. We talked about that. This is also talks about the changes you go through as a teen and a young adult. What is normal? What can you expect? Sometimes for a teen just to be told that what you're going through is totally normal can, go so far into take the worry off them, to elevate their mood, and, enhance their life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Just need mentors. You just need
Yes.
mentors. And some of the crazy things that are in the educational system right now that's being said to these kids, like you can identify as this or identify as that, whatever you want. I mean,
Hmm.
it's like it's all this crazy making that's going on. And these
Yeah.
kids just need stability, they need guidance. And I think
Yeah.
it's great because you are combining all of this, like your background within the education system as a teacher, and then you're coaching, doing all this energy work. It gets a really great combination.
Oh, thanks. I really appreciate that. But also with my clients, I use a lot of journaling skills. And journaling is, people think of journaling, they think, oh, today I did this, and just your daily, what you did that today. There's so much more to it. And there's methods to use journaling that is so incredibly healing. Um, I grew up with a mom who had a lot of issues on her own. And I have nothing at this point in my life, and for many, many, many years I have nothing but compassion for her. But as a teen and young adult, I did a lot of journaling about it, and I healed a lot around it. So in the book, at the end of every chapter, there's a space, there's a couple of journaling prompts to help them start thinking about things, but it encourages them to do journaling on their own because, the thing is, and another thing we and teens need to realize is there is so much wisdom inside of all of us. And all we need to do is give ourselves the time to uncover some of that. So at the end of every chapter, they're given the opportunity to do just that, to find out what really their thoughts are on things like, what would I do if I was on a date and, you're sitting in a restaurant and I felt very uncomfortable and unsafe. So the book addresses that, but and after they read that, journaling about that, it kind of helps them go through that scenario in their own mind. And how would I deal with that? Because that can turn into a dangerous situation. It's good to talk about beforehand.
Absolutely. And I think, yeah, it is obviously very important that creating a support system, and
Yeah.
males and females get your own support system.
Hmm. Yes, absolutely. But it gives them the permission to, if they're on that date, to say, you know what, I'm not being rude. I'm taking care of myself. I need to go, speak to someone, have someone call me a cab, or ask to use the phone, call a trusted friend, come and pick me up. So it kind of
Awesome.
gives them the skills on how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the book also highlights, at the end of every chapter, it highlights a young person who did some amazing stuff in their life. I mean, like Malala from Pakistan, she's a Nobel Prize winner. She's in one of so it shows, the young people that, you know what, we can do amazing things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
having
think
those examples is extremely crucial, and I think that's great that you're giving these examples so they can start following or reading up on whomever. So yeah,
yeah,
no, that's a great idea.
yeah. The book is very empowering to teens and young adults, and it gives them permission to be who they need to be the healthiest they can be.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So no, that's, and like you say, it's the beginning. I mean, you already have titles, like you've already formulated all these further books that you'll be creating, but this is a really good beginning without getting too deep, but
Hmm.
let things settle in as they absorb the topics, and then you expand from that in further books. I think that's they got the foundation is what I see. This is a really
Yep.
good beginning, a found where they can feel safe, have those discussions. um,
Hmm.
I don't know if anybody does book clubs anymore, but maybe they could have an online group book club or something, and have those conversations.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I do have a Facebook page that would
Okay.
be a great place
Well, let's just
to
mention
have.
your Facebook page.
Okay. And that is good the goodjournal.com. Good, I'm sorry, the goodjujujournal.com.
Okay,
Well,
good.
actually, I'm sorry. Let's go to that's my email is the good juju journal at yahoo.com. And I can show
Okay.
that on my screen when you're ready.
And we can also put this at the at the end of the video as well. Um,
Okay, sure.
when it's sent out. Um, Now, I don't know if anyone has questions for Lisa. You're welcome to open up, and um, I think it's great. We just need a foundation. To me, this feels like, okay, here's the foundation, and
Hmm.
then obviously you can add to that. So yes, Evelyn commented, a great foundational book and tool, something they can reference at a later time too, after they've read and gone through it earlier. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
thanks, Evelyn.
yeah, that's true. So if you've got grandchildren, obviously teens of your own, or maybe you have a nephew, niece, or whatever that you'd like to share this with, the upcoming gifts. Yeah, I think that's a great that you're doing that. And again, I really like how you're combining all of this over the years. It's not just
Yeah.
that you're a writer. My gosh, all the healing work, and you're very, very positive. You bring this all together. So now, if you were to do one-to-one sessions, um, do I would imagine you've worked on teens in the past, or coached? Is that something that's
Oh,
happened?
oh yeah. You know what? Actually, I end up working on like basically the whole family.
Yeah.
As a healer, it's so hard to work on just one person because you're sharing these energies with other people in your family. So I
Mhm.
work on, yes, teens. I've worked more with parents in terms of how to take care of their teens and how to handle the situations. As a parent, we're not given, a manual for our kids. It's real. And then the spirit, the moment, the heat of the moment, it's really hard to deal with them,
Oh, it
how
really
really they
is.
should be. So I give them
Uh,
a lot of tools like that.
mhm. Oh, it is
And
hard. I look at myself. I mean, I was a single mom with the infants, and
oh
I
gosh,
don't share very much. And as to a boy, and you're just having to
boy.
do it all. And yes, there's a lot of no, there's no harder job than being a single parent, working full time and then you're juggling and your health, it's no wonder at some point in time that you start to crash. And
Yeah.
that certainly happened for me. Just the doing so much, you can be so hard on yourself, but having some good mentorship, and I didn't have anything at the time. I had no one to contact with, and you're
Hmm.
just doing your best. So that's what we need. We just need some good foundations. Maybe a little this book, you could just pass it on and help another parent to pass on to their children, and
Yeah.
sneak it in their bedroom or whatever under the pillow, and
Yeah.
maybe they'll pick it up and have interest in it. So that's great.
Yeah, I was in the same situation, Brenda. I had two kids. They weren't infants. They were, when I started, gosh, I think 7 and 9, I think, to be in the beginning, maybe a little bit older. It's a tough job. And one of the reasons why I got Hashimoto's and Lyme is because my body was done. I was exhausted. Um, I moved several states and became a teacher, got here the day before school started, had to set up my classroom. It's a
Yeah.
big, yeah, big
It's
story.
it's a big job, and there's a lot of shame and humiliation attached to that.
Yeah.
And of course, we know as energy healers that that shame and humiliation affects their body. And so a lot of these kids may be going through obviously shame, humiliation, not having the perfect body as they see on Victoria's Secret or whatever. So there's just so many areas. It would be so great just to reach masses of these kids and help
Yeah.
them with that they're so confusing. There's so much social media out there that can
Yeah.
distract, and losing, not having a strong identity, and
Hmm.
it's
Yeah. We know as healers, the reason why we have to help people remove these energies is because they've gone through those things because they didn't have the skills. They didn't know that a certain relationship was not where they needed to be. They needed to go find a healthier relationship, and they didn't have the empowerment to do that. And yeah, I've totally thought about that connection where if more people read this book, and I'm going to tell you, a lot of my pre-readers have told me, Lisa, they're 60 plus, years old. Lisa, I wish I learned a lot for me now, and I wish I had this when I was growing up. But if you don't get into that dysfunctional relationship, you're going to be so much healthier, both physically and emotionally. So yeah, it'd be great to nip all of that, a lot of that in the bud, and help these kids be healthier people.
well, and just it's tools that I really believe should be implemented immediately in schools, like EFT,
Yeah,
do some tapping. I mean, that's
yeah,
common. You start bringing in some of these tools. Start bringing in, we don't have to call ourselves healers in the educational system, but allow for discussion and empowering these kids.
hmm I think it's so important. I've actually reached out to the local superintendent of the schools here, and I've offered to give my book for free to all the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. So hopefully they'll take advantage of that. And I said, the more we help the teens, the more we're going to help our world. Because so many people are focused on the government and what's going on with that. And yeah, we need to do work there, but let's get a hold of the teens. Let's start
Yeah,
with the preventive measures and
right.
helping them out. And you know what? If more people had these skills, we might not have the government we have right now.
I agree. It's that create that tipping point, which is kind of not too sure where it's at now, the light and the dark, and we just need more of that. And I wish we could share this too with the educational system would be open.
Hmm.
I mean, not just the educational system, but the all the physicians. There's just so
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many areas. So even your book, Lisa, I'm thinking dropping it off at some doctor office if they would just have it sit. Wonder, I think that would be a good idea. Just say, here, I have this book, put your label on it, have it sit right at the little table before you go in for your appointment. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
absolutely. Yeah, all
I
those
think
That's a
that's
different.
great idea.
Mhm.
yeah,
Do you have any
I think that's,
questions, Evelyn, for Lisa?
hi,
I
Evelyn.
don't have any questions, but this is just, hello, Lisa. It's wonderful to meet you.
Oh, nice to
I
meet
was
you
going to
too.
say, this is all so beautiful and
Oh,
necessary. And, you know, they've taken home ec out of schools and all these other kinds of classes where it gives these foundational tools, you know, for kids. But then you add to it and it's fantastic. It's just fantastic. And I pray blessings on you for it.
thank
And
you.
you're going
Thank
to
you.
reach so many more people and families instead of just like in one classroom. You're going to reach the world. I
Oh,
claim
thank you
that right
so
now for
much.
you.
I hope so, because
Yes.
I do believe every single person you help, you do help the whole world because it's contagious. You know, our energy really helps other people, our positive energy. So it makes the world a little bit better place. Yeah. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
that, Evelyn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're very welcome. I'm just, I don't even have words. I mean, it's just so exciting. Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for your feedback. I hope we can reach more people with it.
Wow, I think so too, Lisa. So, yeah, just, you know, putting it out there and, like I say, see who will take your book. Leave a sample. If you're going to leave it with you've offered to leave it with the school, awesome. You've got the
Hmm.
credentials as a teacher, great. So that's definitely going to help you get your foot in the door there. So in the
Yeah.
library, wherever. So that's
Yeah.
really, really good.
Well,
Okay.
Oh, people could do that. They could buy it and put it in their local libraries. That's a wonderful idea.
yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I'm actually offering it free PDF copies for a limited time, a certain amount of people, to for feedback because I do want to expound or increase or what would be the word? Write more. Perhaps, you know, take the chapter on relationships and write in more details for these kids. So I welcome any
Okay.
love feedback. Um,
Great idea. Okay, let's
yeah.
get your information in and get clear on that. So how are they going to contact you to pick up
Well,
this PDF?
okay. Well, I can share my screen. Can I?
Yes.
Can
Oh
I?
yeah, please do. Good idea.
Okay. Let me get
So
over
let's
here.
share the screen.
And can you see it?
Uh yeah, let me just tap into here. Um yes.
Okay. Well, that is my.
No, sorry, I can't. Let me just
Okay.
see what's going on here. Uh Your screen book is share. You want to share. Mm, darn, what's
I
happening
can see
here?
it.
Oh, can you? Okay, good.
Yeah.
It's just on my screen.
So
Okay, awesome.
Anna B. Joles is my pen name. And that name has a lot. It means a lot to me. And Ann is my middle name. B is for my maiden name, Blovat. But Joel's is the last name of my best friend. And I'm still from elementary school, and I'm still part of their family. So I call her mom. So that means a lot to me. But I also want to do a children's series. And teens don't want to read a book that is written by a children's series person. So a lot of authors use, so I have 4 different genres that I want to write on or in. And a lot of authors use different pen names for different genres. So this will be my journaling, life skills person, author. But www.lisaglennie is my healing website. And then the Good Juju Journal at yahoo.com. And that's all small letters. That is my email. And you can send your email address to me, or send me an email and asking me for a free PDF for a short amount of time. Be about for 2 more weeks. And I'll send you a free PDF of my book.
Awesome.
And later on, there will be a few days where I'll let you get the ebook for free also, but those will be very select dates, and they'll only be for that particular day. But if you get in soon enough, I will send you an email and tell you when those days are.
Okay. For some reason,
That'll be great.
can you see the book, Evelyn? It's not showing on my screen.
Yes, I do see it. I see the
Okay,
book and the
perfect.
2 links. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Whoop.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome, Lisa. So, okay.
I'm
Well,
pretty excited about it. Thank you so much for coming and talking about it, investigating a little bit. It's great.
well, we need to be putting ourselves out there, and that is what I truly believe. And because there's no guarantee for tomorrow, which is the absolute truth, as we all know. So we might as well. So good for you, taking all those steps, one step after another. So
yeah, it's a long long road. Publishing a book is a long road, but it's a lot of fun.
Right. Oh, wow. Good for you. And it takes courage well, I think it takes courage. I haven't written a book, a couple of chapters, and that was just like nerve-wracking for me. I didn't enjoy it, but I felt, okay, Brenda, just do it, just do it. So gotta push out of our comfort zones.
Yeah, I've definitely pushed myself out of my comfort zone, but that's where the growth is,
It is.
So, put that out of the way. Sorry. I forgot Evelyn could see my screen. I put it in the way. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I always say, jump off the cliff, make your wings on the way down. And that's how I've kind of accomplished things in my life. Is just doing, as you said, day by day.
Day by day.
Challenge by challenge.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's about it. We're going to have all your info so people get in contact with you, get that PDF for a period of time. And yeah, best to you, Lisa, with everything. And
Thank you.
look forward to just moving on, and we're all doing our best. So just to, move on with life and put ourselves out. So
yeah, keep chugging along.
Keep chugging along. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Evelyn, thank you for your feedback. I really appreciate it.
Oh no, I'm excited. Thank you so much.
Great, great. I'll look forward to hearing from you so I can send you a copy.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I have everything written down. I have some teenage grandchildren that this would be very, very good for.
Yeah,
oh, perfect.
That's great. Okay,
Perfect.
Great. We'll talk to you later. And bye for now.
Take
Thanks
care.
for popping
Thank
in.
you so much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.